Brr, my people. It is cold out here. I mean, it's 18 degrees in Austin, Texas right now. I'm from Minnesota where like it gets to negative degrees, so in comparison this isn't that bad, but like for some reason when it's cold in Texas, it just feels like extra cold. Anyways, today we have a very exciting video. We are continuing on from the video I posted last week. And in last week's video, I left off by saying that I was about to go on date 2 with the Spanish man. So if you haven't seen that video, I suggest you watch it first. I'll link it in the description, but you don't have to watch it. You can start here. Okay, so in the last video where I left off, I was waiting for the Spanish man outside of his apartment he was staying in. And my plan was to go to Auditorium Shores. By the time I picked him up, it was already late because it was already dark out, probably like 7 or 8 p.m. And mind you, I typically go to bed like at 9. But since I was hanging out with the Spanish man, I figured, okay, I'll go to bed like 11 tonight or something. That's not really important. But so I pick him up and we get in the car and we go to Auditorium Shores. And I had that blanket that we brought with us. We both had like some water and we set up shop. We just laid our blanket down to chat and look at the nice view. And y'all, something came up because I will say there was one thing about him that was very different than what I'm used to, which is so with American men, I would say 99% of the time, specifically when going on dates with men here in America, I feel as if they are quite chivalrous, like holding the door when entering a restaurant or like opening and closing the car door um if they pick me up. Things like this, paying for the first date, feel like the norm here in America. That's what I feel. I don't know if other men or women feel the same, but for me, going on a first date or like, the first few dates with a man, actually like all dates with a man, I feel like they are chivalrous. Even the walking on the outside of the street or outside of the sidewalk, I feel like that's fairly common here as well. And with the Spanish man, I did notice that he did not practice those chivalrous manners. And it's not like, I mean, I guess I'm just used to it. So it was really easy to clock it. Like when there's something that always happens for you and then suddenly it's just not, it's kind of hard not to notice it. And, like I noticed it on the first date, but I didn't I just it came into my head and I was like, "Girl, just who cares? Let's continue on." But on the second date, I was kind of like, "Let me ask about it?" So, we start talking about it and he told me that in Spain, feels that more or less chivalry is dead and that women there, I guess largely because of the feminist movement, like they don't want men to open the door. They don't want a man to pay for them. Like they can take care of themselves financially. And so his take on like heterosexual relationships is the man brings 50% of the masculine energy and 50% of the feminine energy, and the woman brings 50% of the masculine energy and 50% of the feminine energy. And there are zero gender roles, like just because a man is a man does not mean he's the one to take out the trash. Just because a woman is a woman does not mean that if one parent is going to stay home with the kids, it's going to be the woman. It's really just like whatever works for the couple. Or like another idea he brought up is like, for example, with doing the laundry, he will do his own laundry and his partner can do her own laundry. He can cook his own food and she can cook her own food. Yes, like maybe there will be times when he'll cook her a meal and another time when she would cook him a meal, but it's really not like it has nothing to do with your gender. And one specific thing he mentioned is like, I don't need someone to clean up after me. Like, I'll clean up after myself. I'm an adult. Which, I mean, you know, I remember while he was sharing his thoughts with me, just thinking like, girl, have an open mind because, I was like, where did chivalry even come from? Not saying I don't like it because I do. It's really nice and it's attractive, but it kind of got me thinking that I really haven't questioned like why chivalry is even a thing. I did a little research and it looks like it dates back a long time ago and France is who started it. Let me do a little research and find out more and add it in here. Okay, so I did some research and here is what I found. Chivalry originated in medieval Europe, especially in France during the Middle Ages. At the time, society was violent and unstable, and knights were heavily armed men with a lot of power. Chivalry developed as a code of conduct to guide how these warriors should behave both on and off the battlefield. Its purpose was to civilize warriors. Chivalry emphasized honor, loyalty, courage, and discipline, and it set expectations that knights should protect the weak, show restraint in violence, and respect women and civilians. The Bible did not create chivalry, but it deeply shaped it. But I mean, I do understand it. Like, we do need order. People do need to act civilized. And even like the young giving up their seat for older people or for a woman who's pregnant, like it all makes sense. Help those, yeah, help those who are weaker. So another point he brought up is he's an artist and part of being an artist is to get people to see a different perspective and to think outside of the societal norm. And I remember like my mind kind of expanding and thinking, yeah, he does have such a great personality that although in that moment I was thinking I would like a man who's chivalrous, like his personality was so great. He was so funny that I would absolutely continue going on dates with him, although he did not currently really believe in the chivalry thing. Excuse me looking like I'm about to go play a game of pickup basketball, but I want to introduce this next clip that's coming up. So this is the Jay Shetty podcast with Rick Rubin, and while the Spanish man was like telling me his views on chivalry, which were so different than mine, this clip from the podcast kept coming to mind. I think it's a great clip, so let's watch it.
When I speak to someone who has a different view on anything, I always want to learn more. Mm-hmm. How did you get there? What can I learn from you? I never assume that I know anything.
And we feel vulnerable if someone else's viewpoint that seems opposite to ours could be true. We generally struggle as humans to entertain two opposing ideas, that someone can be kind but also be assertive, or someone can be complex yet really compassionate. Like, there can be these paradoxes that exist.
To save time, I was trying to go without my microphone, but it's back. So what I love about that clip is just the keeping the open mind aspect. Like, I think an old version of me hearing someone say like that they don't believe in chivalry at all, in my head I would have been like, okay, well then it's a no for me. But keeping an open mind is just such a great thing. Like, there are different views out there, and who am I to say that I'm right and who am I to say he's wrong? I do think the world would just be a better place if there was more listening to the ideas of others, with the hope of at the very least understanding. So yeah, that's that. Let's get back into the original video. So that was a large part of the conversation. And after I got home, I did a little research and I like went on YouTube to look up like, is it true that in Spain like chivalry is not really a thing? And here's what I found.
I recently had a conversation with a Spanish guy from Sevilla and asked him what his ideal first date was. And he said, and I quote, going around and going, ha 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 ha. When I asked him, is that it? He said, yeah, I cringe at the idea of, acting as a man should. For him, it was all about being natural, laughing, and, seeing where things go. And having talked to a lot of Spanish men, that seems to echo all across the country. It's interesting because for them, the idea of playing the part, so to speak, is really, really cringy. It's more about going with the flow, being natural, having fun, and having things evolve naturally from there. If you're someone super chill, super casual, dating in Spain is probably going to work really, really well for you. But if you come from a country like the US, where dates are still more structured, then dating in Spain might be a little bit disappointing. Because let's face it, that kind of romance, most Spaniards would find it cringy.
I've been in a relationship with someone from Sevilla for the last year. One of the first things I noticed on our date was we got an Uber to take us to the restaurant. I'm so used to someone holding the car door open for me that I literally stood there like waiting for him to come to the car. And he just walked around to the other side. And we actually had a conversation about it later. And he was like, well, yeah, it's not necessary for me to hold the car door open for you. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, dude, it's not necessary, but that's what I'm accustomed to.
Watching those videos, wow. I mean, they were super relatable to my experience with the Spanish man. So it does seem to be quite a cultural thing. What I will say is, being that he was not into chivalry, I think it made me feel less of a sense to get dolled up. And I do enjoy getting dolled up. I like when a man makes me feel like I want to get all cute. But at the same time, it also was nice not feeling the need to get dolled up. So, I mean, I think in the end, a mix of both. The answer is often somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I mean, I do think that that conversation I had with the Spanish man that night, I mean, so that was the beginning chunk of the date. I would say that was the main conversation. And then it was really just kind of hugging each other and touching and cuddling and giggling and, the normal. And then I kind of just want to talk more about that conversation because I just think it's so interesting. And I want to ask men, any men that are watching, how do you actually feel about chivalry? Do you feel annoyed to pay for the first date? Is it kind of annoying having to open the restaurant door for her? Are there times when you're like, woman, I wish you would open the door for me? Or do you like doing it? Because I've had people tell me, oh, men like opening the door, men like paying for the first date, men like being protective. But then I'm also like, or have I just been told that? And have men just been told that's what they're supposed to do? But no one has really, and no one has just questioned it. But when everything is level and I'm 50% feminine, 50% masculine, and he's 50% feminine, 50% masculine, I mean, I guess for me, that's not my ideal scenario because I do want to feel more, I would like to feel more feminine than masculine. I don't want to feel equally. I want to be 70% feminine, 30% masculine, something like that. But the 50-50 is, that's too much masculine for me. like, I'm a woman for a reason. I feel like there's a reason that there is man and woman. And there is beauty in the masculinity of men and the femininity of women. And there is beauty in that we do each hold both. But yeah, when it's exactly the same, just not my vibe. And I mean, biologically, our the hormones that we have are different, the percentages we have of each. And like there's a reason for that, and those do bring out different characteristics in each. Yeah, and I think play to strengths, play to weaknesses. But okay, so now let me finish the date. So we had our really nice time at Auditorium Shores. And then after, he did suggest going to go see a movie like Avatars because he works in film and he's obsessed with film. I, on the other hand, so we ended up just calling it a night and we said, hey, maybe we could try to meet up the next day, though he was going home the next day and he had meetings with the producers again. So I guess a part of me was like, hopeful that we would have time to meet. We did not have time to meet again. So I dropped him off that night, and then before he left, when he was at the airport, he sent me a voice note. It was really sweet, just like, hey, I had a great time with you. You're really funny and fun. And I replied, like, I had a great time with you too, and I hope to see you again. And that was it. That was it. Short but sweet. It was great. I learned from it. I definitely learned from it. He was very thought provoking, and I'm like, that's more of what I would like to look for. And yeah, uh, yeah. I guess that's all I can hope for in dating, like to learn and have a nice time. So that's it, y'all. That's it. If you like this, you know what I will ask. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, stay warm if it's cold where you are. And I will be back next week. You already know when. Thursday, 12 p.m. Central Time. And y'all, I think I have some fun videos coming up where we kind of redo my house because I want to switch things up. Okay, love you all. Bye. There's not a playbook to life.